Hey everyone! Today I am doing another speed build video and I've decided to make a treehouse. Now a while back I noticed that they'd added ladders to the game in a patch and I was really excited about that because stairs are fine and I like that you can rotate them. They changed that at some point too, I think, so you can like rotate parts of the stairs, but even considering that, they're still quite chunky and there's just a lot of stuff you just can't really do without ladders. So yeah, that was really cool, and when I found out about that I was like, I need to build a treehouse at some point, so that's what I'm doing in this video. So I was looking through some builds on the gallery, and I don't know if I noticed this before or not, maybe I just dismissed it, but I noticed that some people's builds had like really fancy looking cars, like detailed realistic cars, not like the enlarged toy ones, and I was like, how did they get them? Because I thought maybe they were like toys that came in some expansion pack, but I kept seeing them in base game builds and thinking, well, this isn't in the base game. I've never seen these cars before. And then like I realized that they're basically debug cars that are like, you need a cheat to get all the debug items, including the cars. So when I found out about that I was like, oh my god, because there's so much stuff, and I was like, I have like a bunch of mods that I downloaded for my previous pool mansion build, and well, I didn't download it for that, but I ended up using them like mugs and stuff, and they have a whole bunch of them that are just debug items that you can get through using that, and there's so much cool stuff, like there's a bunch of brooms, you know, like buckets, piles of wood, and like tons of landscaping options, and they even have like the little magical greenhouse thing that came with Realm of Magic that's used in like the fantasy area, and I was just like, wow, it's basically like an expansion pack. Like I unlocked an expansion pack's worth of content, and some of the stuff I haven't even seen before because I haven't played through a bunch of stuff. I actually haven't played through Realm of Magic properly, like even though I've had that for like several months now. But yeah, so there's lots of cool items. There's also a lot of there's a lot of weird items as well. Like there's a few baby models, and I haven't put them in because I might experiment with that later. But I haven't tried messing about with that yet. I don't know if it's gonna glitch the game or something to like add some of this stuff. I know like there were some baby models in The Sims 2 that were essentially like cheat objects, and there were so many ways to corrupt the Sims 2 save file. Like if you messed around with like the bullprop cheat, all the debugging tools, there were so many ways to corrupt the game. I don't know if the Sims 4 is as easily corruptible or not, because I'm a lot newer to it and haven't really experimented with all that stuff since, you know, I only just found out about the debugging thing. And yeah, I'm adding like the wood toilet and wood bath in the video now, and they come from the debugging tool, and they really work with like a treehouse, I think, because they're like very sort of ramshackle looking, kind of. I'm not sure if that's like an actual verb. They have a very kind of like rough, rugged kind of look. But yeah, I ended up using a bunch of the debug objects. The actual tree going into the tree house is one of them. I really like that one because it has a bunch of like little mushrooms and grass on the bottom, and it's just kind of very, almost fairy tale-esque, which kind of fit the kind of cute theme I was going for with this. I wanted it to be kind of like whimsical looking. So yeah, I put like a sofa into like a little alcove area. That's like a thing I really like doing now. I did it with my previous build, but in that one it was just for show because it was quite high up and you can't sit on it. This one, in the original Originally when I built it, I didn't play test it, and the sofa wouldn't work. But after some tweaking, I got it so that it's actually a working sofa, despite being in that little elevated alcove area, which I'm really happy with actually. I really like that, so I'll probably end up doing it with a bunch of other stuff, because I really like window seats, and I know there's a cool one that comes with pets, but since I don't have that expansion pack at the moment, I'm kind of like hacking together ways of doing things that I want to do, and so that's cool because it actually works as a seat and it's not just for show. Yeah, I added like that TV because I thought the cheap TV sort of worked well with this kind of thing, and I added a workbench and the rug. Yeah, I spent a lot of time like actually looking through all the debug objects in this video, so I think like a large chunk of the speed build is just me like browsing essentially through the debug objects and trying to find like all the cool ones. I ended up adding like a cupcake, and I don't know if technically it probably counts as like gone off food. I'm not really sure, because you can click on it, because I did when I was playtesting, and it just says clean up, but then I couldn't because my sim doesn't have a trash can. Yeah, and then yeah, those plant pots are debug plant pots as well, so I added them on the fence. Yeah, you see me messing around with the cupcakes again. I ended up settling on a green one because it sort of matches the candles and a few other pieces of decor. I put a bunch of like the makeup debug stuff on this shelf and the rubber ducky, because you gotta have a rubber ducky. But yeah, the landscaping stuff in particular is really cool. I mean, you've got mushrooms, there's just so much stuff, and I was just thinking about all my previous builds and like, wow, this would have been really helpful here. Like, there's lots of nice grass and tons of rocks and gems and a variety of like new trees. There's a really cool magical looking one, which is like a willow with like some gems in it and stuff. There's like the brooms, like I added a broom there by the door. Oh, and graffiti as well. There is graffiti in the debug options, which is so useful. Not for this build, but like other ones, I definitely will probably end up using that graffiti. I also found some ivy at one point, and I didn't find it again while looking through in this house, but the other day yesterday when I was first looking through the debug stuff, I noticed some somewhere, and I didn't note down what it was called, so I will have to like scroll through it all again at some point to try and find it. But that's just like really cool, because now I can add like, because I have a bunch of ivy that's custom content, but I try to avoid doing that, because like when I upload stuff to the gallery, if it has custom content in, people just don't seem to download it. Like I uploaded my mansion as 2 separate files, one with custom content and one without, and like way more people were interested in the one without custom content. And I get it, because it's like a massive hassle to download stuff with custom content. You gotta look through all of the stuff and download it all separately, and there's no easy way to like list it either in the description, so it's just like a massive pain. I keep saying this though, I think I said this in my last video, I can't remember, but yeah. So the ivy will be like really helpful if I can find it again, and if I didn't just imagine it. I'm pretty sure there was some ivy, because then I can add that to like walls and stuff, instead of using custom content. I'm pretty sure there's probably some like ivy that comes with one of the packs as well, but I don't have many of them at the moment, so I will probably buy a bunch more at some point, but I'm like putting it off for the moment, because it like adds up, but I don't know which ones to like prioritize buying either, like the best packs for like building. I have to look through them all, and then like decide. But yeah, I put like down an easel, and oh yeah, that light, that sign that's on the side of buildings, I found that finally. I actually thought that was like from an expansion pack, but it's not. It's a debugging tool item. So yeah, so I noticed there are all these like little photo pin things as well, and there's like that little pin board, so I don't know if you can add other stuff to the pin board as well, but you can add the photos so it looks like there's something on it, which is really cool because my pin boards were always empty, and it's nice to have something to actually put on them. Yeah, I put like, you know, the scissors and a bunch of crafting supplies on the shelf as well, because there's like the glitter, which I guess comes from the little kids crafting table, but it's separate as a debug object. There are a number of things that are parts of other objects that are separate, and I guess because they're like all the little items that Sims end up holding when they're doing various animations, I think. Now, I heard that the debug tool objects don't have collision on with all this stuff, like these decorations that I put around the place. It doesn't really matter. I'm actually wondering if Sims can just walk through that tree at the bottom. I will have to test that later, because it kind of breaks immersion a little bit if some of the larger objects don't have collision, to be honest, which would be a problem with that. I think that happens with the cars, but again, I haven't tested it. I just read that happens somewhere, so yeah, that could be a problem with it. But definitely for like these little small accessories around the place, it's very useful, and there's like a bunch of flowers. Yeah, I don't know why some of these stuff, like some of the stuff wasn't just included as like, you know, like accessories, as like decoration accessories, because they're pretty, you know, cool. Like there's a bunch of tools. There's a little circuit board that I think I add to the build later on the floor. That's pretty cool. There's also like all of the little wood crafting objects. So I added a few of those things around that you make with the workbench. They've got like, they're all in the debug thing. There's like a wheelbarrow with and without flowers. I don't even know where some of this stuff is from. I guess most of it is just like the decoration from the neighborhoods. There's also like a bunch of pets, and I don't even have the pet expansion. I haven't tested them because I don't know what they do. They might just disappear as well. I noticed when I place some objects, they just disappear. But yeah, they're like a bunch of cats and stuff in various different poses, and dogs. So I guess that was some kind of testing thing. I'm actually wondering if like all of the testing objects from all of the expansions are here. I don't think so though, but they were. But yeah, I think there would be a lot more if there were, because like there's all kinds of stuff that wasn't in the game. But yeah, so I added some mushrooms in the garden area. Spent a lot of time trying to figure out. There's a bunch of like little rock pools, like from the neighborhood parks and stuff, that you can include. Oh, and I found a garage door. Yeah, that's really cool, because I was actually wanting to put a garage on like the front of like one of my previous builds that I was doing recently, and there is one, but it's a debug object. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try and mess around with that, and some of the fences. There's a lot of urban looking objects that are pretty cool. So like you could probably create a kind of apartment city feel with some of this stuff as well. But I don't have City Living. I think that's the name of the expansion. So I can't do that with that stuff. But yeah, actually I wonder if that stuff is from City Living, like if it's from one of those neighbourhoods. I'm not sure though, because I feel like they can't have all of the expansions debug stuff, because it just feels like there's a bunch of stuff missing if that's the case. But yeah, it's interesting that it's all this stuff is there. So yeah, I had a lot of fun sort of looking through all of that. It really was like getting an expansion pack, and you've got those little wooden chairs, and that's another thing. I haven't really had my Sims do much with the workbench besides making a few models. None of them have really gone that far with it, so I didn't actually recognise a lot of this stuff, like the toilet and the bath, or the seats, and I was like, especially when I saw the toilet and the bath, I was like, where are they from? And then I realised that they're stuff that you can create with the wood carving table. I put sandal lights around a bunch of places too, because they just kind of fit in, I think, with the kind of like homemade lighting effect that you might have in an actual tree house. And then I put like the little guitar there. I was surprised to see you can actually play that guitar. I figured it would be unusable because it looks so like poorly made. It doesn't look like an actual guitar. I thought that was like some kind of failed object thing, but yeah, it is playable. I always seem to use like a lot of candles in my build. I really like those little log ones that came with the Christmas pack, like the that I've got on top of the boxes there. Yeah, they're one of my favourites, and I always add them everywhere. They have a really like naturalistic look to them, which is nice. But yeah, so I ended up putting them in this build. I am like reaching. I've been building a lot recently, and I am kind of reaching the limit of like what I think I can sort of do with just the packs that I have build-wise. So it was nice to like find all these objects that I haven't like experimented with and can do stuff with. But yeah, I definitely think at some point I definitely want to get like more of the packs so that I can build some more things, because there's like so much cool stuff in some of the packs, for building at least. I haven't been like as impressed with The Sims 4 in terms of gameplay, so it's definitely like the build objects that I would be wanting the packs for. I mean, some stuff in The Sims 4 is definitely improved from the previous games, like the toddlers and their skill building is very interesting. I mean, they weren't in the game initially, but I wasn't playing back then anyway. By the time I started playing, toddlers had been added in, so that was good. But yeah, there's just, yeah, I don't know, because I've spent a long time playing The Sims 2 and 3, so in some ways I kind of prefer it for gameplay, and I feel like, I guess those games felt a bit more loved. I mean, The Sims 2 and was really innovative. Wow, can't say that word. Yeah, The Sims 2 was really innovative, and then The Sims 3 has a lot of problems, very slow loading screens and stuff like that, some pretty ridiculous bugs at times, but it was still like the open world thing was quite transformative, so that was again a step up. But then The Sims 4 came out and it felt like it was sort of in between The Sims 1 and 2, like it didn't have toddlers, didn't even have pools when it was first released. Yeah, it definitely improved from what I've heard, like over time, like with the expansions and stuff, but it's still, I don't know. Yeah. So, didn't mean to like go on a rant there, but yeah, I definitely think I probably do. I think I like have a lot of nostalgic memories about The Sims 2 as well. It has its own problems and it's not as visually great. Like I went back and started playing it again recently because I was watching some Sims 2 videos that people had done on YouTube, and they wrote like, they were talking about all of the Easter eggs in the game, and there's a lot of like really fun stuff actually in The Sims 2. Like just little details that are not in the later games, like things like the microwave food spinning, just like a lot of little fun things. You can really tell that like a lot of love was put into that game. And I actually remember reading about it in like a PC magazine before it came out, and I was so excited by the idea of aging, because I didn't play The Sims 1 too much, but I played it on console a bunch, but I didn't have like a decent PC at that point to play it on PC. So I only got Making Magic like just before The Sims 2 came out, and then it ended up like not working on my PC anyway. It like worked for a day and then randomly stopped working, and at the time I was like a kid and couldn't troubleshoot that, so I had no idea why it wasn't working. But then I just started playing The Sims 2 later when we got a better PC, and yeah, it was really cool. Like, I just thought the aging thing was like amazing, because you never really had that in The Sims 1. I mean, you had like the babies would age to children, but no other aging. Yeah, see, I just put a boat down. Like, there's so much stuff. Like, the boats would definitely come in handy for something, I'm sure. Like, I could build like a little lake, add some boats in a future lot. Yeah, so I'm really happy with this debugging, with the debugging objects. so many of them. It's like, and there's like those little magical gravestones and stuff. I noticed like some of the objects just seem to be objects that are in the buy mode catalogue anyway, and I'm not sure how they differ. Like there's that fountain that's already in the build mode object from Realm of Magic. Yeah, there's so much kitchen stuff though. I really could have used that because for my mansion build there were a lot of empty spaces, and I did put some custom content on it, but then in the non-custom content version there's not a lot of stuff, and I definitely could have benefited from like putting down a bunch of glasses and other things that are available here. Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of this video now. I was trying, like I spent some time trying to find these little magic cards or tarot cards. I'm not sure quite what they are, but I found them before while I was looking through the debug options, and I can't remember what they are, and I don't even know what they're from. I guess there's some kind of Realm of Magic thing, but I thought they were like interesting and I wanted to put them as clutter in here, but I couldn't find them in the end, and so I sort of gave up. But I might look again later, because I did want to build like a witchy cabin at some point, like some kind of magical cabin, and they would definitely fit in there. I actually downloaded a bunch of like custom content magical clutter with that in mind, but now I'm interested in seeing what I can build like with some of the debug options, because there's a lot of interesting stuff like magical brooms and things like that. Another thing I noticed were there's actually like swords, and I have no idea what the swords are from. They might be from, they could be from an expansion pack I don't have, but yeah, there are these swords, and I couldn't, like I was going to put them in at first and like sort of pretend they're kids' swords, even though I think they might actually be real swords, I'm not sure, but there was just nowhere to really put them where they didn't seem like they didn't take up too much space. They wouldn't fit on shelves, obviously, because they lean out quite a bit. But yeah, I'll find some use for those swords eventually, because, I don't know, they're pretty cool though. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. I added that. I really like that little plant pot. The like, can't remember what it's called, but the little green one. I added like a bunch of like little cute garden decorations in front of the shed on the, not shed, in the front of the treehouse, in the like balcony area. I added a bunch of stuff there, like the little flamingo gnome, and some other bits and pieces. I think the bear gnome and a duck. And then I spent some time trying to decide what to do on this wall. Eventually I remembered the tool decoration, and I put that in on that wall instead to fill it in. But at this point I was just going with the Realm of Magic decoration, because it filled a big yeah, see, I found it now, like the garden supplies, and then I just put that there because it made a lot more sense, really, because that's like a little sort of work area. So I actually have a bunch of crates, but I figured that empty crates sort of fit in, and I put those little lights outside, because I always forget like the lighting on the outside of buildings, but it kind of helps. I didn't put any lighting in the flower beds at all, but that might have been an idea, but I just decided not to, because it seemed like it would end up too showcasey looking. I wanted it to be more organic and just kind of like an overgrown little garden area. And then I added the stilts. I almost forgot to do that, but it does appear to be floating. Like there's no way, even with that tree, especially where the tree's positioned, it would not, I don't think it would sustain like the entire of that building, so I did need the stilts to kind of make it seem more realistic and like it's not just floating. Oh, and I remembered those hanging herb things at the last minute. I really wanted to put them in somewhere, because kind of, again, it kind of goes with the naturalistic theme that I wanted inside, with like a bunch of flowers and stuff. Yeah, I was debating adding like a garden hose to the outside, just as like a little accent to put something there, but I ultimately decided against it, because I thought, like, from a realism point of view, I don't think, I mean, technically the treehouse does have water because it's got that bathroom, so I suppose it could work, but yeah, it kind of needs to be like attached to the main water thing somehow. I don't know, it just seemed like too weird a thing to add to the treehouse in the end, so I decided not to. And I added like a little bird bath in the flower area, because I thought that would be cute. And yeah, I debated, like, I spent some time, like, I put that baseball bat in the end as well. I actually think I was supposed to put in some other clutter items that I forgot about, like maybe some sports supplies, or... Thing is, because I was playing The Sims 2, I sort of forgot like what items are from The Sims 2 and The Sims 4. There are a bunch more clutter items that I have in The Sims 2 because I have like most of the packs for that game. And there's like some like workbench tools and stuff which I wanted to put in. Anyway, I lost track of time again, and that's actually the end of the video. So yeah, I think I've gone over a bit, so I'm going to end this quickly so that I'm not talking forever. Thank you for watching. If you like this build, again, I've uploaded it to the gallery, and you can find my origin ID in the video description. Bye guys!